So do we think the prisoners did this, or was this even before what happened underground? Because after the war, the commander said, the guy in charge of building the jet engines and whatever they did here, he said, just wait until you find the underground. You'll see how smart I really am. Sitta was an old settlement dating back to the 12th century. It would become a fortress town, and it became well known for its mining and garment industry. And before World War I, Zittau had become a garrison town with a large, beautiful caserne building. During World War I, a prisoner of war camp was eventually constructed in wooden housing. During the Second World War, the garrison had grown, but also so had the textile factories. And when the war began, all of that would soon see repurposing and the entrance of the Jägerstab, General Kammler, and perhaps Dr. Mengele. But let's put him to side for now. The amount of rumors and theories circulating this place today is now overrun by local researchers and historians, all of them more determined not to work together or on selling gossip more than they seem to be actually finding what they might be looking for. But it does seem that something very strange is going on here, so I will try to straighten it out. But let's start with the Allies' bombing campaign in 1943 and the German relocations and dispersal of industry and secret projects. As Allied air raids intensified against German industrial centers, it was clear that key production needed to be camouflaged, dispersed and decentralized, and some moved into underground relocations. And this at the same time that now rockets and jet engines were beginning to take to the skies. And Zittau was still far from the front lines, and here was already large production halls which could accommodate large-scale production. The largest such operation of relocations in Saxony began on April 29, 1943, when the Junkers Aircraft and Engine Works, Junkerswerke, selected to relocate to the large textile mills and the unfinished Großportisch barracks complex. That was the former World War I prison camp site. The project initially aimed at producing aircraft types like the Ju-88, but after the intervention of Albert Speer, the focus shifted for the mass production of the Juno engines for the new Messerschmitt Me-262. The construction office for the main site was transferred to Zittau in November 1943. The secret project was formalized under the code name Geheimvorhabe 5A SOJ-M116. The cost was estimated at 2.83 million Reichsmarks, and it was later assigned to the control of the Jägerstab under General Kammler. On March 20, 1944, the umbrella organization Zittwerke AG was founded in Zittau, led by former Junkers personnel. The operation used a dispersed model across more than 21 locations, including 17 separate textile factories in and around Zittau, or Ebensbach, and the often nearby towns, as well as a new facility in Semmel in the Protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia. The final, highly secured production complex was the Zittwerke Kaserne in Großportisch. This site saw rapid construction, which included completing the barracks to house the thousands of workers, and building large assembly halls, bunkers, air raid towers, and also, interestingly enough, it's mentioned that construction also began of underground supply facilities, shafts and tunnels to safeguard utilities and critical infrastructure. Why they would need this much underground for an above-ground assembly line is not yet clear to me, short of the technical tunnels needed between facilities. By November 1944, the heart of the project became operational. A block with 8 powerful test stands for the Junkers Juno 004B turbojet engine was constructed, several hundred meters from the production line. Finished Juno engines were shipped out in camouflaged freight trains from a newly built standard gauge rail connection. Did I mention those exceptionally good rail lines in and out of Zittau? As a secret military zone, the Zittwerke relied on extreme security and segregated labor. While German and foreign specialists handled most machining and assembly, basic and special construction work was performed by forced laborers from garrison, and a sub-camp was established in one of the administrative buildings at the Großportisch site, guarded by the 17th SS Totenkopf Guard Battalion. A total number of prisoners involved across all Junkers sites in 1944 was reported as only 864. The camp also housed Polish and Soviet prisoners of war and Ostarbeiter. Quite a few of these were women. Later, with the advance of the East Front, production ceased in mid-February 1945. A frantic final evacuation effort saw all machinery moved by 15 freight trains, and later, in February and early March, the Großportisch site was finally abandoned on March 24, 1945. The prisoners' subcamp was unable to evacuate to the main camp, which was Großrosen. So it briefly became a reception point for other fleeing concentration camp prisoners. Following the Soviet air raids on May 7, 1945, the remaining guards had fled, leaving the prisoners here free. Now, that was the easy part. The complicated part arose later, when the former manager of the factory claimed to have hidden something so clever, something underground, and also eyewitnesses claimed to have seen trains and trucks arrive at the site carrying something which was taken underground. And finally, it was claimed that Dr. Mengele himself was here, experimenting on pregnant women and dissecting corpses, performing autopsies. However, I have questions about these claims, because they all have quite a few problems with them. But let's take a look at the site first. Several of the old buildings have been converted into apartment buildings, another into a psychiatric hospital, but several of them are still abandoned and renovations have not begun, so we can get inside, and looking at the basements, they are very interesting, a lot of leave-behinds, and fortunately there are one of the local historians who, along with my friend Kaviak Jones, will come with us and share his theories, as opposed to all those others who could not be bothered to share theirs with us. Okie dokie. Yep. Okay, this is unexpected.
I didn't expect it either.
An interesting building.
So this place is now like a garbage pile, but there used to be a time when it was full of the water, and the only way this place can get full of the water is when the water comes from underground, because there is a roof above it, and you can see from the entrance nothing flows in.
I know, this is a little unexpected that this is here. What is that, a giant boiler?
This room serves as an air pump station, and there were big engines who were powering the pumps or the ventilators, and that this is somehow connected to the underground.
So this was a compressor station? Or
that is his personal opinion, because nobody knows what was here for 100%.
Well, you would think you could recognize that thing somehow.
Tu jakbyś zobaczył, to było wody. Tutaj odkąd to.
That's the water level.
Ta woda była, ta woda. Nie wiem skąd ta woda tutaj się znajdowała.
And he has no idea where this water came from.
Yeah, for this to be full of water, the water has to come from somewhere.
No. Później po tym, no to jak był ten zatak, ta woda gdzieś zeszła. Być może to jest wszystko związane, ale to jest...
Maybe it's connected, maybe not. It was the ventilation for the underground system, and he assumes that it could have been this place because of those postulates. because of those tunnels, which are probably for some pipes or installation.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that theory, but
I'm not a big fan either. And
before it became a building for the prisoners.
Probably in 1935 they had no prisoners.
Yeah.
Not so many of them.
So this is the old prisoner barracks, or one of them, that was built before the war. So this was apparently a site for refugees or returning soldiers from the First World War. So the buildings have been here longer than what took place here and why we're here today. They built jets here. The jet engines here. They built the engine for M116s, B1s, and there is the possibility of an underground tunnel system here that we're not entirely sure of. Some tunnels have been found, but it's been a little bit hard to excavate them. So
Attention, attention.
we start in the basement.
A tu prawdopodobnie szły kable.
And he doesn't know if that was the administration digging something out of it or just the scrap hunters to collect the
To jest
copper.
ciekawe pomieszczenie.
That's an interesting room, he said.
Oryginalne.
Ah, with original painting. Oh, that's what you would like.
That's what I like.
Bitte wasch dich dein Waschraum.
Ist oben.
Ist open, aber wasch dich, also wash yourself from start.
Nein. Bitte wasch dich, bla bla bla. Kein Waschraum ist oben. Kein Waschraum.
Aha, okay.
Could you translate the blah 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 part? Because
No,
our
it's
viewers
gone.
are a
There's
little,
nothing.
It's
The word
gone.
is missing, so.
our viewers are unclear on this. This is cool though. This is wartime graffiti. I love this.
Yes, you have it in Tempelhof too.
Yeah.
Underground. Figaros Kunst, no.
Figaros Kunst sei hoch
Genesen. Es hat sich auch schon hier
Fest verboten.
erwiesen, dass obwohl es fast verwohnt
verwohnt, irgendetwas.
und außerlich
Ganz toll
toll
verschönt.
Co to pisze?
Verwöhnt
Mniej więcej?
und verschönt, ja?
Poezji czy coś.
Aha.
To też tak trudno czytać, że nie możesz łapać sensu.
Na pewno,
But I'm
na
so
pewno.
focused about, deciphering the
A tu-
words that
tu
I cannot
wisiał-
get the meaning.
To
Don't
miał
worry, we'll
prawdopodobnie
figure-
kalendarz. Tak
O.
myślę.
So,
No, it's
oh,
okay. It's
Heimat,
okay.
wie bist du so schön? The
Kill your
fact-
spot, would you?
That was probably the calendar or stuff like
We'll
that.
take it without the torch.
Yeah, oh, that's too bad. Somebody put something up here, and that's why
Yeah,
it was
probably a
destroyed.
calendar, what is it?
It looked something was drilled in here. This was a thing. There was a box here or something, but
Jeszcze tu były, ale widać. ktoś
So do we-
oczy wydrapał.
do we think the prisoners did this, or was this even before? Could this
I
be?
don't think it was made by the prisoners because this one says in German, "Oh, the Vaterland, how come you are so nice?" And
This
the
could be post World War I.
probably yes,
Yeah.
the guys who are there on the way home
Yeah.
because it's German.
Yeah, I guess the prisoners here were not a big fan. Don't run. Saw a hole in the ground.
There used to be an entrance. I'm sure about it.
Yes. Oh yes,
The different bricks.
but look at the roof. Look at how this roof is built.
Yeah.
And just look.
And
This is
that's
how.
actually not a normal roof. That's
No,
like
this is
a
not.
reinforced.
This looks like how the roof's in the tunnel. This shouldn't be here. This doesn't belong to this building. If this building was built after or before World War I, this is completely out of the place. Det er ligesom det sådan en cementtunnel, der ikke hører til her.
There is just a big room in it, and you can see the opening. I mean, the opening.
Yeah, the roof is the same. The roof is crooked too. This reinforcement is crooked.
I mean, not only that, but look at the place where you might install the frame for the door. It's also like way stronger than a basement door.
Yeah. I mean, you can see it here where this pipe has cracked. You see how thick this is?
Yeah, that's a thick foundation.
That is a thick foundation. This was not original to this building. It can't have been. And the reason why it's crooked is probably because they put it in after the building was put up. But why would you reinforce the floor of a prisoner building? I mean, as an air raid shelter, mock, maybe. But they weren't expecting planning to be bombed here.
Exactly.
I mean, and this was a fairly small target. The Air Force would never have come here for this.
That's what I found interesting, is look how thick the wall, and that's probably for some doors to be mounted in. And it's made for the way bigger doors than the usual basement doors.
Yeah.
Like, it's what came to my mind is like, if you want to lock somebody in something a prison like, then that's exactly the room you need.
I mean, I could see this being drainage though. The holes, would imagine that.
This?
Well, then again, if he's right, and this was a technical, then there would have been an installation here, and something would have been mounted on the walls. And there's plenty of holes for things to be mounted. This could have been.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just thinking there was mountings on the wall, on this wall here, and why would there be that in a prisoner barrack?
That's just a pipe. That's just a normal pipe. Maybe in this pipe there was just the water floating, maybe there were some cables inside, I don't know.
I mean,
but you can see this is the pipe that they damaged, and they were trying to reach to this pipe. What for? No idea.
I mean, I would go with, my initial thing would be going with drainage. But then, if this was drainage, then it would be right here. Then there would be a toilet here, be right here. Or there's, unless this is a bathroom, there'll be sinks, but that there's no plastic on the walls. There's nothing on the wall for this to be a bathroom.
And well, yeah.
Which, and also, if this was a toilet, there'd have to be a drop for the water to actually, flow and clean. Otherwise, all the crap. This can't have been drainage for a toilet. Anita, what do you know about bathroom plumbing?
You want me to build yourself?
No, what do you tell me how they work? No, I'm serious.
Really?
Yeah. You're handy and probably built the bathroom in your time. If you have a toilet, you need a bit of a drop.
Yes, of course you do. Otherwise you can't lead it anywhere.
All right, so come here. I want to show you something.
This is overtime, dear.
Yes, but we're going on you being the resident expert. And
Depends on how fast you want to get out of this room. Because you can see below there, it could be a drainage out.
It could be a drain, but it just looks so shallow. I mean,
Think of it, if you look at the stables in the old days, there wasn't that much of a drop to get stuff out.
And I guess these guys, whoever were here, didn't have fancy toilet paper to get stuck.
Exactly, and this is what, from the 30s, 40s?
10s,
Yeah.
maybe.
So I think this kind of drop could easily have been
It could have been a drop.
in the case 100 years ago, 100 plus.
tam pisało po niemiecku, chociaż niekoniecznie, że to po niemiecku, bo może...
So that would have been a sink or something. Well, I mean,
That is
there's some
weird height.
there's some serious damn
The height
holes.
is weird. Could have been for washing something.
I mean, usually prisoners just had one long thing
Yeah.
that was kind of cheaply built, but hey,
Yeah, but on the other hand, if it wasn't built for the prisoners from the first go,
true.
couldn't have been some porcelain sinks or a porcelain wash basin on the whole wall here, and then with the one drainage here.
Well, let's see what's on the other side of the wall. I guess that's.
Probably nothing.
And again, you're right. The door. Here's a regular hinge here, and this would be a hell of a hinge out here too.
Yeah.
This doesn't. I mean, how much do you need to seal people in when they go poop?
You don't.
You don't.
Unless it's could be serious, but no.
You have
So
and all of these doors had some serious. You would have had armored doors on all of these.
Yeah.
So okay, if you go with prison cells, this is a big prison cell.
Yeah, it is.
This isn't. Yeah, this is interesting. There's.
Could be storage.
Could that be munition? Could this have been munition stored? Huh?
These rooms was to be barracks. But then when the war came, so then they changed it to this prisoner camp. He has no idea about this ceiling, if it was made after that or if it was constructed like that.
But the ceiling is very strong and very.
Bo bardzo mocny jest ten, w sensie nie robiłoby się takiego dachu do budynku dla więźniów, nie? Well, the doors were opening inside, that's what we know.
And then there would be armored doors on the outside on
Yeah,
these hinges.
probably.
So this would have been a double door thing. You wouldn't even do that in a prison. You wouldn't have double doors. I mean, ammunition. What do you need double
Why
doors
would you
for?
store ammunition underneath a building full of people when you have like fields full of nothing around you?
Well, if you really, really don't like those people, and they all smoke.
Okay.
Okay, that's not funny. Well, yeah, it's a little funny. So all of these places had really serious doors in them. And prisoners upstairs and this down here, we're just backing up again because look at all the cable attachments. Okay, they could have been newer, but they could also be period. Like plastic. What am I standing on? There's a hole in the ground. That's interesting. Everything here is interesting. Alright, you nerds out there. Period. Or newer. It does feel like flimsy plastic, I will say. Holy shit. Very serious about looking stuff in here. This is a very, very interesting place for a prisoner barrack. But the roof is still what gets me. And the reinforcement. And again, the attachments to all the lights, they look original. Are you enjoying your vacation?
It's amazing.
It's not what.
I can't wait to share it with the world.
Well, here's your vacation photo.
Yeah. This is really crap, isn't it?
This is a drain. This is a ceramic drain. Alright, so we're looking at drains. Because this is the same opening as in the other room before it was broken up. I mean, here you have a ceramic drain.
Yeah, and then you have it also there. And we were actually discussing why was it open, because it's a fresh opening, and he said it happened after the movie he published. And the pipe itself is made out of the clay, so it has no warp. And
Yeah.
It was for example, it was the bathroom, shower room. So now we know that these pipes were used to take the water out, yeah?
Yeah.
It was used.
Yeah.
So there's no way there was some expensive cable inside this pipe.
No.
Yeah. So somebody, after watching this movie, he came here and spent nice couple of hours destroying the concrete floor and reaching this pipe, which he didn't even extract it.
That's interesting.
That's weird.
So we're going with all these being bathroom stalls, but they're not like the other one in there where there was something.
That's
on
the
wall.
material the pipes are made from. It's like literal clay.
Clay, yeah.
So
Clay pipe.
it's not interesting to sell,
No,
and that's a typical toilet pipe.
yeah.
Well, they're looking for something that could be stuck in the drainage. I mean, why dig it up?
That's a very good question. I cannot see the point either. When he was recording his movie, this floor was there. Then he published his movie and somebody came to the abandoned building and spent hours digging the floor out.
Really weird.
So
And maybe the idea is that they wanted to get the pipes and then put the camera and to see where the pipes go. But if it was a drainage pipe, then the pipe go to the septic tank.
Yep.
So this was a prisoner barrack, and he doesn't know when this building was built.
Yes.
But this ceiling is still something. I mean, I guess it could be World War I construction, but this basement is just so damn substantial.
Could it have been for the workers? I mean, when we think no prison, could it be for the workers to shower after doing the day before? If they're working with something.
Here's something else. This, for the bathroom, has no armored doors,
no.
there's nothing here. All these other ones have these heavy armored doors.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense. You did notice that, right? So,
That the bathroom has a normal wall and
this bathroom that we know is a bathroom have a normal door hinges, and all the other ones have armored double doors. But here again, nothing. There was a door. Here was a door.
What's the door here?
There was a door. Why was there a door there? I bet we can go behind it too. Nope. So this is where the toilets are? Here! Coming! Den skal jeg lige måle den der. Yes, dear.
so first, this looks different than any other rooms. That's what we've noticed. But it still has like a hooks for to close it somehow.
Yeah.
And then what you see there used to be an opening. You see the
Yes,
arch
I did.
Yeah.
and this, and such an opening is something similar. Is
Bo
also
to jest
here.
koniec budynku już.
That's the end of the building. And there is also like an arch. It's kind of less archy, but it still looks like a suburb. With the second wall behind it, I stuck my head in it, there is nothing, but if you already damaged this wall, then why didn't they damage the second one so that you can see what's behind it?
I mean, if we date this building to 1910, 1920 type thing, 1900s, which is possible, and then when it came to moving prisoners in here, they started sealing up all the end exits so the prisoners couldn't get out. The drainage, they made more more bathrooms, that makes sense. But the double doors, even in Theresienstadt or wherever you are, for the single cells, you only have one door.
Yeah.
You don't have double doors, that makes no sense.
Bo głupina jest, nie? No tutaj ci na pewno powypijali albo tego.
And it looks like a water pipe because of this one. We use it. It was used in the 1980s, maybe even in Poland, to make the pipes. No, that's not. That's asbestos. To nie jest włóknina. To jest
Bo
asbest.
to jest ten wata, ta szklana.
Tak, wata szklana. It's like a
Pierwsza wata szklana, bo to kiedyś tak robiłem.
It's not in asbestos, it's the rock wool.
Rock wool.
Yeah. Or maybe it was just stuffed there. And there is a hole that somebody made.
Or no?
Tam kamionka idzie. Nie da rady pokazać. O.
Yeah, there's the pipe there, yeah. That's right, yeah.
Regardless for whom this building was constructed, the massive reinforcement of cement in the roofs and ceilings down here in the basement is completely unusual, something I have not seen before, regardless if this was a World War I prisoner of war camps, a textile mill built for the SS, or whatever it was. This is strange.
So, maybe a pipe went through there? Water pipe sealed, maybe? But all this cement stuff here is sort of interesting.
As I pointed out, there used to be a door here and a door, so this is a double door situation.
Or a wall that would come all the way over.
Yeah. With a door in it?
I mean, it seems like this section and the section behind us is different.
Yeah.
Because this seems like serious armor, hinges, while the other section down here seems more big room, bathroom.
But could that be for staff that was permitted to come and go if they wanted to?
That's
and
what I
this
was
could-
thinking,
and
yeah.
this could be a more
You're not going
prop
anywhere.
unit. Yeah.
Yeah, something
Whether
is
it's people or if it's stuff.
stuff.
Whatever stuff may be.
I've never heard of anybody would store important stuff underneath a prison barracks, but then again, why wouldn't you?
But were they originally prison barracks?
No,
So we have to keep that in mind.
exactly, yeah.
Za pół roku będziemy kopali.
The hard thing about this is if you have 100, 150 years of building construction and reconstruction, you don't know who did.
Tutaj to głębsza.
You're not getting in there.
No, I'm not. I'm too big, but if I had a camera, I would love to stick it there because
You mean like the snake camera I have in the car? Is that the one you're saying?
this thing made them stop digging. I would like to know why they were digging it in the
Chyba
first
rury
place.
te kamionkowe.
Ale to nie ma
To jest ta
wartości.
rura. To wystaje. A nie wiem, ktoś to kopał. To wystaje ta rura.
This
To
is
widać, że
Yeah,
było,
that's the deeper
deeper, yeah.
point, yeah.
w tą stronę musiało iść, bo tu jest, tam było coraz...
Tak, proszę bardzo.
no hinges.
Not on the outside.
Oh, there was a sliding door here.
Oh yeah.
Ale tu nakopali.
There was. And there's a sliding door here.
Look in the corner, right? Upper corner. Or even the corners of the building, they're even weirder. See this construction?
And this room was, why is this green? The other ones weren't.
Ciekawe.
Yeah, the corners, you're right.
Yeah, what for?
There's a sliding door in front of this. Oh, of course you could go in through there.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Chodź tam zobacz.
Poczekam na niego.
Another sliding door down here.
Widać, że jeszcze
Okej.
tam było.
O!
Że było jakieś przejście. I ktoś tam już kopał.
It stinks down here. Some people are serious about looking under this building.
Yeah, yes. And this plate is actually only attached here and a little bit here, so if you will keep on digging, it will fall on your head sooner or later. I mean, it's just a ground plate. It's not supposed to serve as a ceiling.
No.
No i mogło być tutaj wejście, dajmy na to. To się nieźle natłoczył.
There's a false floor on this building, on here.
False floor?
There's a false floor. I think there was. Look at the edge. Either it was full of water right up until this line between the bricks,
No,
which
it
is
really
strange.
looks like a false floor.
It looks like there was a false floor, right? So this could have
because
been.
the floor was removed.
This could have been a heating room. Theoretically.
That's a very weird place. So that's the other side.
Yep.
You can also see an arch here,
Yep.
right next to the floor
Yep.
level. And what you can see here, that the concrete is different. You don't see those spots, because those spots are like a German trademark to make it less slippery.
Yeah.
And this concrete was poured, you see the board.
So we may be standing on a false floor here as well. This is a plate.
Oh, you see? This is the original, I don't know if you see it with your camera, this is the original German floor, because you
Yeah.
see those steps,
I
you
see
have
it.
it in Ostwald too.
Yeah.
And this one here, it's a different concrete. So there used to be something. And there is yet again an arch in this corner.
Yep.
And the concrete behind the... It's not concrete. No, it's a sand. Or a clay.
The end of the building.
So it'll be interesting to know what these buildings were built for to begin with.
I will... This question will be answered from the better source.
That should probably be the easiest part.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised too that I cannot get any clear answer. Oh, shower, get it in.
A druga no. Wiesz, że to lepiej nie zauważyłem?
They painted the ceiling at some point.
O, coś dla
Shower room.
ciebie. Coś dla ciebie.
Ale to wychodzi tam. That's the technical tunnel. You can see the another end because there is light on it and with a lot of bunches probably and garbage. But this looks like a typical technical tunnel for the pipes and for one man to be able to walk it through to inspect it.
Interesting.
I would already crawl in, but since I can see the entrance on the other side, it's not that interesting. It's a cement park. Cement park.
Through the walls too, past through the bricks here. Slope the corners. Why would you slope the corners? This does look like an afterthought. It really does. I don't know.
Not only the room was green, but it was also locked. I know, on this one.
Yeah, from this side.
But the roof here has a different construction.
It does.
I think that I sort of have somewhere.
Interesting. Why? Why?
Try to, stay cool and don't be overexcited. It's really not good.
Huh.
sure there might be a construction reason for it. Just back to why.
Taki dziwny skos.
No właśnie to też jest nawet, bo jak to w ogóle cholera, nie? It's like also a second wall built on the
Yeah.
top of another.
I know that it makes no sense. Why would you do that? It's not like there's exhaust or anything. Well, even if they ran a pipe, what does it matter?
In the basement, it was apparent that there were, at some point in time, underground accesses to tunnels leading away from either end of the building. No sign of why, or if they were steps down into connecting tunnels, or even into the mines themselves.
Take a look for graffiti that might be original. I'm just curious. I don't know for this to have been a prison barracks. I mean, a dorm with a bunch of beds. I get it.
There used to be a wall? No.
Is this what I think it is? Is this?
That's a
Cork?
chimney.
No, is this cork or is it stone?
That's stone.
A stone.
Oh wow! Look, I will see something. And you see how the what's the name of the armoring, bearing the steel inside.
Yeah.
It was twisted.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty modern technology, and I would say it's like shortly before the war when it appeared, because some of the bunkers in Ostwald they have been built with this technology. So.
Yeah, with twisted steel.
Yeah, to twist the steel. They
And
were
it's
the
more-
first ones to do it.
And it's more expensive and it takes longer.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
it holds better.
But why would they do it here?
Exactly, in such a... It again, it's not fitting. Like this one here.
No, to już łatwiej. Torek kolejowy, co nie? Zaraz.
Tutaj?
Tak.
So there needs to be a railway.
Right here or?
Right here, yeah, between those buildings. But I think there is an embankment here, covered under the sea.
Yeah.
Yes, because through this embankment there was this road, this road was there.
Was this used after the war as something?
To było używane po wojnie, czy od wojny to użyczone?
Tu był PGR.
It's difficult to say there was a Polish public.
Tej firmy też mieszkały, które budowały elektrownię kopalni.
So it was also a place for accommodation for some workers from the mine. It was used in many different ways.
Yeah.
But it was used, it's not abandoned since the war.
No, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Ale czy akurat ten budynek był zamieszkany, tego ci nie powiem.
But it's difficult to say if this building was used by them or the other one. Because it was always regarded as a complex, and the story of the single object is still unknown.
Yeah.
Kind of. Wow, look at the painting here. I mean, paintings, it's not a painting.
Okay. This looks typical Eastern European.
Yeah.
This looks very Russian inspired. From 60s or 70s.
Oryginalny do kalorów. Jeszcze się zachowało.
Yes, this is sort of how the Russians like to decorate in that period of time. See those colors, the wide stripes. Don't even know if you can give it a design name. You just recognize it when you see it.
You drink your cherry coke and watch yourself, combing your hair, braiding your, yeah.
This was a toilet. This was the bathroom facility.
There's no way to do it, so I had to stay.
So this was the building we were in, and out here ran railway tracks right up through here, and you still see the gravel. It's all railroad gravel next to one of the large production halls, which is there. You still see all the signs and the pillars of the guard posts of the secure area. Now, given the public speculation that Mengele was conducting experiments here, I want to dive more into that because it irks me, especially given the source and the claims that there were rooms made especially for autopsies in the basements. This is one of the SS barracks. There's a lot of these. And in the floor of them, in the underground, they said Mengele was here doing experimentations. The usual stories we hear on some of these looks like, I suppose, autopsy tables. They refer to them as the autopsy room. You've seen them in documentaries with a green tile and made interesting claims to people not knowing what they were. So let's see what's in here. If they're in this basement as well, then they're part of all of them. And that would tell a slightly different story. So this is the basement of the building that, as far as I can know, was the SS barracks, where it was claimed recently that Dr. Mengele was preparing experiments and twins and what have you. I am not a big fan of gossip. This to me could just as well be a wash basin. There are several of these. There's other ones that are tiled, so that might be in another part of the building. But this is where my great-grandmother would tell me if this was a wash basin. What do you think? I mean, no, I think these are original. Water pipe. I mean, I get what the first thing people are thinking, well, yeah, it's for the bodies, drain the blood, blah, blah, blah. This is a problem.
Could it have been for the workers? I mean,
Oh, there is a drain at least. Okay. I mean, I could see this being an old wash basin from way back in the day. They started renovations down here. What the hell is this? Okay, this is weird. I mean, this is a little strange. I mean, I'm sure there's a practical function that has to do with laundry or something, maybe. There's a chute. I don't know what this is. In almost a full circle. And it looks smooth, like water or something could have run through there from two sides. But that's, I mean, that's a lot of water. I mean, to have such a big pipe, and these are wood dowels where you could put a counter or screw something into this. There's no place I see for a faucet or water to come out. So right over the door. Same thing here. I don't see any place where there could have been. Where would the water have come from? That doesn't make sense. Yeah. And then
Alright, so if we go in the next room, we'll see where the water went. So it came out there and into this. There would have been a heating room somewhere, something. But I don't know. So from there to where and why? So this could have come down and connected to that there, and I mean, if this had a different configuration and no steps, I would say fine, it's great, it's a trough, it's how you feed cattle, but this is weird. So what do we got on the walls? Pipes, holders. This is built out from the brick for some reason. And that drain may connect to the drain. Yeah, well, yeah, it probably does because there's a drain there. So the drainage was running here, which is pretty straightforward. But this is where if we had to ask somebody really old, he would tell us what this is. Could have cleaned up their damn hallway.
Wanting to check one more lead on this, I went to the city archives here in town.
The people at the local archive here at the Stadtarchiv are really nice, friendly, and helpful. They actually make pretty damn good coffee too. So it's a pleasure to go talk to them. Let's take a look at some plans.
Now we know that a maternity ward was set up on the top floor of one of the buildings. This was done for the some 500 Hungarian and Slovakian female workers that was here. They might not have been prisoners, but conscripted or volunteer labor, who apparently had plenty of free time to date. However, they could also have been Jews from those countries, or still other forced laborers. From the concentration camps, men and women were separated and quartered separately, of course. Now, in 1945, we know that 9 women were listed as having died here of all causes: work, disease, sickness, labor, etc. None of them were noted for having died giving birth. Now, in February 1945, 100 sick prisoners had been transferred here from the Gorlitz subcamp. But again, given the time and the situation, where would there be time for any kind of experimentation? Now, I want to examine the one article written that quotes one anonymous prisoner's claims that he visited here and inspected their rooms in January or March. So we don't have an exact date, and we don't have a name of the witness quoted. Already that should close the book on speculation. However, she's claimed to have said that he inspected their rooms for hygiene and that he complained about drawings made on the wall that had been made by British POWs. That leaves me to ask, when were they ever here? She also mentioned that he looked very defeated, which makes sense given the circumstances of the country at the time. But she mentions nothing at all about experiments. That is simply mentioned in a guessing form by the author of the article asking, was he doing experiments here? And it is also wrongly cited the birthing station that was set up, quoted here to be 1945 May, which is completely impossible, as it had already been evacuated by then. So I have to completely disregard this article as speculation, citing no proof at all. Mengele was one of the doctors at Auschwitz. He was the head doctor at Birkenau camp. Auschwitz had been overrun by the Russians around January 17th, and Mengele had fled to Großrosen further west. Zittau subcamp fell under Großrosen. The Zittau was evacuated in March, with the Russians entering the town soon after. So for Mengele to have gone here, began to set up experiments and conducting autopsies seems extremely unlikely. The camp here was being severely overrun and stretched, and it was slowly evacuating as to what was possible, as other prisoners and soldiers were fleeing in away from the Russian advance. And I could not in any archives find any notice that any prisoners or any females at all had died here in conjunction with giving birth. And now, having visited the archives, looking at the original drawings of all these barracks and buildings, in every basement there were the same 2 wash tables, although apparently some today have been tiled, some are not tiled today. Maybe they were, and that has been destroyed. That's not really important. These were designed into the buildings and is inception stage. So these were rooms for soldiers to wash their uniforms. It's even labeled on the architectural drawings. And I'm quite sure the SS or army here did not expect to perform autopsies en masse in all of their barracks. For dire emergencies, sure, a table such as that would be possible, but I don't see where there was any time to conduct experiments here. I'm not seeing this plausible at all, but it does make for good TV. Of course, Kammler was probably here, although there are no notations in the papers that I could find that he was here, but he was in charge, and the Zittwerke AG was producing parts for his jets, along with the other locations dispersed here in the area, all producing for the war effort. None of that would be out of place in any which way.
It looks like this was a tall building. So that's the same. Oh, but we still have the old guard tower sitting here.
Going back to streamlining the production and testing, a few hundred meters from the production hall, the engine testing halls were set up so multiple engines could be tested at the same time and then shipped out. The roads are still here, but all the rails are long gone, along with most of the infrastructure.
Yeah, that's the building.
Alright, so this is the building where they tested engines, that is very well dug in the forest.
Jürgen Uldrup was the technical plant manager for the aircraft construction in the Zittwerks. He played a central role in underground constructions for Junkers. Uldrup was initially head of the main technical office in engine construction at Junkers in Dessau. Then he also took over the relocation of production. His task was to coordinate the measures and to force the secret production of engines. In addition to offices here in the southern works, Uldrup also had a branch in Prague and other locations where underground relocations had been organized. And the setup of the Jägerstab meant that all of these could work efficiently without bureaucratic obstacles. They could cut through paperwork directly by issuing orders, with Kammler at the top, and he understood the importance of delegating responsibilities. But of course he was also demanding a lot of his subordinates. This is the main reason why construction and the enlarging of the factory plans could not be given or was not given to the local authorities, and thus the knowledge has been lost of what was done. The Juno engine only took 375 man-hours to build and cost around 10,000 Reichmarks. That was far below the regular piston engine. Initial tests had the engine running for over 100 hours with a standard fuel J2 synthetic fuel, but it could also run on diesel and aviation fuel, although the latter was not ideal. Despite changes made to the materials used in the mass-produced version, it could still run 30 to 50 hours between overhauls, depending on the pilots. By 1944, most of the engine kinks had been worked out. In fact, the only main problem remaining was damage through the turbine blades by ingestion of stones or foreign objects. It also had a two-stroke starter engine, which could manually be pulled to start, similar to that of a lawnmower. This too would need replacing from time to time. Here at the test stands, each engine would be run through the various evolutions and power settings before being approved and sent on to final assembly. Well, there's a staircase, sort of. I mean, I'm using that.
You need help?
No.
All right then.
O, tutaj takie były na te silniki takie te otwory.
A.
I tam jeszcze, jak ten budynek, to za tym był taka przestrzeń była chyba, żeby on tam nie chodził czy coś.
So, those holes in the walls, circular,
Yep.
this is the exhaustion hole, and the hot air from the engine was exhausted through this hole, and there was a big open field behind it so that nobody can actually walk to the fire getting out from the engine. And you can see some various stations, 1, 2, 3.
Chyba nie ma.
So this was a serious operation.
Ale musiało bardzo dużo kosztować. Ruscy, Amerykanie udzielili Francuzi 262, tak? Słabe.
And they did the V1 here as well?
It was?
Did the V1 engines?
So no connections to V1, but he said the guy who was in charge here, jakie było imię jeszcze raz?
Jürgen Ulderup.
Jürgen Ulderup, the guy who was in charge of this place, he said after the war that when somebody will finally find the underground here, then they will be surprised of his technical skills level or his vision.
He said that.
Ale wyczytałem sobie, nie tam napisał, że zajmował się po prostu.
Why would someone say something like that? Interesting with the stairs. From the top floor leading down to 2 chambers.
On zaraz z ojcem otworzyli fabrykę. W tamtych latach, wiesz, było takie, wszystko było w postaci tego, a on już po prostu wykonał na kolejny.
Step on that. Oh yeah. Yeah, this was the field behind here. And then the distance over here will be the factory. And all the test chambers. It'll be interesting to find out how many they actually made here.
Tutaj pod spodem
So you're actually standing on a tank for the jet fuel. There is an entrance from the other side. And those buildings we just saw, I just googled it, I mean Wikipedia told me that they have been built in 1938. And that they have been firstly built as a barracks, like we said. Before that there was a wooden camp for the prisoners and people who were coming back from the war. 1938 the buildings were built, and they were built for the officials that used to work here.
Here's the building. Have a little front room here, and they would place the motors in there and exhaust out the back. All red brick, nothing like we see in Komostov. But here, there was no need to test and see different aspects of the engine's performance, and they weren't developing it. All they had to do here is to see if it would actually work and everything was functioning, so they could place it on a jet and it will fly. So you didn't need all the measuring. Basically, you didn't need any more instruments here than you would have in the cockpit of the plane, because you just needed to test its performance and stability that worked. And that makes this really interesting, because they were doing this on a conveyor belt line. They were just knocking them out, testing them, and shipping them off to the airfields. And towards the end of the war, there were a lot of jets sitting around Germany without fuel and pilots. But it wasn't for the lack of the planes or the aircraft themselves. Zittau was also known for the lignite mining, brown coal, mostly in open pit strip mining, which is still going on today. And that comes with the speculation of underground tunnel systems throughout and under the town from the mining, although this kind of mining is not usually done with tunneling. However, the archives here were nice enough to send me the maps from the late 19th century, depicting the old coal mine maps, which runs partially under this area. Here you clearly see the tunnels from back then, and it was claimed that some of the S-men were witnessed to hide something underground in what was possibly these tunnels. Or it could also have been referred to the claimed underground storages, which are officially witnessed to have been built initially. So there were spaces underground. Now, we all know the conditions of an 80-year-old neglected mining tunnel. I've taken you through quite a few of these. So would these really have been stable enough for production or even storage? After the war, Hans Hansbach had spoken of how his father, who had been a prisoner of war taken by the Russians, had spoken of being made to work here underground after the war in underground factories, but he would never speak of which in detail. But one of the few question marks that does remain here is, for some time after the war had ended, under the Russians' management, I suppose, there were prisoners kept over working for the Russians, or the German prisoners. So people were working here, or they were sent somewhere else, but last seen here. But let's say that the Russians did keep some people working here. What were they doing? Because the machinery, the production equipment, had already been dismantled and moved. So if you're going to excavate hidden Nazi treasures as a conquering Russian army, are you going to let German prisoners of war do that? Are you going to let any Germans or former prisoners do that? Or are you going to have somebody you can trust, some NKVD unit or something? Kind of think you know the answer to that. So, still, there's questions. Don't know if we're going to find the answers. But it's interesting to ask the questions. And of course there's tunnels. Alright, what am I looking at? Well, I know what I'm looking at, but...
Yeah, that's supposed to be one entrance to the underground tunnels. And this is the bricked part. It should go for a couple of 100 meters. And through this brick part, they actually reach to the old mining tunnels that used to be there.
Well, collapsed. We seem to have a problem here.
Yeah, we need a, what's the name of it, mole?
Mole, yeah. God damn it.
And it's been burning a lot, you can see too.
Yeah, people have been sitting in here. But this is not the one I saw on TV. It was deeper. Wait, it was 10 meters. They dug 10 meters down, and then they found it. They didn't know it was there.
Okay. So what you can see, it slightly go down. It's not like going up, or it's not like straight. You can see from the brick layers, it goes down, and it looks like really like an incline shaft.
Yeah, because this is not a drainage tunnel, because it's leading in, not out. So that's an interesting indication.
Yeah.
And these are end bricks, so this was it. So there were tunnels under the factory.
That probably connected with the old mining tunnels.
Yeah.
That have been used for some kind of production.
And as we know, if everybody else have quoted after the war, that they used a lot of pre-existing tunnels for everything. Factory's back this way. Test building. And tunnel entrance. Woohoo. We just dismantled the concentration camps to the east. The Russians are coming. It's autumn, it's cold.
They're moving this way, and you're about to evacuate this place. You already evacuated all the production facilities you have that made parts for the jet fighters. Everything is gone. It's full of prisoners. Now, is this the time where you're going to hide or bury treasure or gold or machinery in underground tunnels before handing this over to the Russians? I don't think so.
Well, in this ditch here, you can see that the trees that are standing there are young, so they haven't been here for ages. So that could indicate that there has been a collapse and the trees have been, growing up here since the collapse.
Yeah, we do spend a lot of time looking at young trees, but somebody's been in here digging a hole there, digging a hole there. Not sure what they expect to find. There is clearly okay, all right, I think I know why they're looking. They're looking because if this was a tunnel that collapsed and inverted itself, that's where they think the ditch was come from. So that's why they're digging here.
Maybe, or maybe they are just scrap hunters, because there you can see a little bit of metal pipe, and that metal pipes look like a pipe for the cables.
Yeah.
For very thick cables, because it's not like this, it's rather like this.
Yeah. I mean, it is more fun to follow historical evidence than it is to follow scrap hunters, but we don't know what they
Yeah, but we are still in Poland, you cannot forget it. Everything here disappears if it's made out of the steel. They actually managed to steal a bridge. Yes, they did it. They managed to steal like a big steel doors to open the silos for the nuclears.
Really?
Yes, they managed to do it. It weighs like couple of tons, and they organize the crane, and they actually remove it. Nobody knows where it goes. So, yeah.
Did our guy just disappear?
Yeah.
Into a hole in the ground?
Well,
I still see him.
half disappearing.
Pamiętasz?
Te opaski? Nie, to jest ta pielęgniarka.
No.
What the hell is this?
That's from the nurse. Nurse has it on the head. And this one, co to było? Możesz coś? Nie wiem, nie wiesz?
Nie wiem,
Jest mała
nie
idea.
będę zmyślał. Tu jakiś idzie... Co to jest?
It's also like a technical tunnel between... No, it doesn't go to this building.
Czy tu kabel w środku jest tej...
Several years ago, a group of researchers got permission and had funds to actively dig, and they did find a tunnel and broke into it, but they ran out of time and funds before they could really truly explore it. But some old tunnels are here, and that had now been proven.
Looking at this field, and you see the water seeping into cracks in the ground. This may be where they found a tunnel and covered it up. And the slabs and the ground is crackling up. And the water is literally draining into the ground here.
Yeah,
Probably hard to see here, but we all suspect that there's something under the ground. And if what the last commander said is true, then he hit something in here. That will be very interesting to see. I know what that is.
Yes, it's a support.
It's a support for a not finished tunnel.
Yes.
That means they're not just using the original tunnels, they were also building something new that needed support beams. Mm-hmm. And what is it doing above ground?
Mm-hmm. This is actually the place where, on the picture from 1944 or 5 that we saw, there was the second entrance with an arch. But now somebody did something with that and it's gone.
Yeah.
But that's exactly where, because they were relatively close to each other. And both of them were supposed to head this direction.
And there's a guard, well, they could have been moved, but the guard towers as well.
Yes.
But
also, if you think about this entrance that we saw, so if you have a big engine for a plane, it's kind of difficult to fit this engine inside this tunnel. But so if the entrance is right close to the right next to the place where they tested it, and let's assume that it was being constructed underground, then how to get the engine out? Maybe on a car, a mining car.
yeah.
That would be more possible. But anyway, that's very small entrance. It was like for a people to entrance.
Yeah, it does look that way. Now, this idyllic landscape may not mean much to you. However, the Zittwerke is up there, rather situated, sort of on top of a hill here. Down here is a rather significant little stream that collects runoff of small side streams that comes from, well, up the hill. Which means there's water that runs throughout the underground of up the hill, which means if there are any tunnels, they are very likely to be flooded. Now, floods and water and streams don't just happen overnight, so they were also here during the time of the war. The Germans were very smart people, and they knew the landscape, and they knew how to drain water out of tunnels, and they also knew what would happen if they needed pumps to drain water out of the tunnels, and these pumps would shut down, sort of, like if the management left at the end, the war would end. That brings me to the thought of one of the theories is that, well, maybe we're hiding art treasures or important documents in the underground here, in the tunnels that plausibly are there. However, that means that they would deliberately store art, water, artifacts, paper, water, in water. The problem with having hidden all that, if that's what they did, the Germans were not dumb enough to hide a bunch of delicate artifacts, papers or paintings, artifacts in places they knew would be flooded, knowing that the water's already running through this area now. It was also then from up the hill to down here through the tunnels that, without being pumped, would then flood and destroy whatever they stored there. Oh great, more sloping slopes. Was this a German gas station? I love how the trees are planted on the roof of this.
As a Polish citizen, I'm really sorry for the garbage that the people from my country left here.
No.
I find it really embarrassing.
You mean the people that lived here? So this was a gas station? Or petrol station during the war?
To była ta stacja benzynowa? To była ta stacja benzynowa?
No.
Yeah, that's he agrees. But there you can see somebody opened an arch yet again.
There was an arch, yeah.
And started to dig where it's behind. It looks like a concrete, but it's not. It's a clay.
This clay, yeah.
But in this clay, you. But I found a brick in this clay. Here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
interesting.
maybe somebody just threw some rubbish as they were building it, or maybe it has a deeper meaning.
But I'm like, why would there be an arch into nowhere, into the mountain?
That's why I invited you down there.
Yeah. And there's got to be a basement too.
Yes, and we are about to go in there. There's one big garage underneath us.
This is weird. But it's also different construction. There's like 3-4 different types of stones in this building in general.
And you can also see that there was a wall, like it was supported from the behind. You see, it's not only two brick
Oh, yes.
big wall, but there is also
Yeah, there
like
is.
a brick wall that continues a bit.
Very interesting. And a lot of attachments on the walls for stuff, and on the ceiling for stuff. And what I keep thinking, so there's a door there, but on the other side of there is just a drop, if I'm not much mistaken. And these bricks look different than all the others, which tells me that small brick on one side, big brick on the other side, and then all these mounts, I'm almost guessing they were compressors, motors, some sort of equipment was sitting on these.
The factory is not far. But it is very well tore up and littered. And that's just, well, that is what it is like here.
Down there it's even more interesting. I'm putting my gloves on, that has a meaning.
I'm just wondering why there's a door in the middle of hovering over it. Huh.
You can see which method they used to open it. I don't know why they didn't want to drill here. It would be easier, I think. But okay. So get in. So that's the entrance you saw from the upstairs, yeah?
Yep.
And what's that? That's wood. I don't know what's that.
What's that?
Widzisz, to mówiłeś, że to beton. Zobacz, jaki to jest. Twarde.
That's a clay from...
No, to tak po prostu glina tak spardniała.
Is there any further access?
Yeah, there's like one room behind it. It's also very almost full with the bricks, with the clay and the garbage. But you can see the bricks go far further into the ground, like here and here. And what I may think is that, of course, the reason why they started the fire here was just because they were drunk, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's a
out there
deliberate.
sniffing a glue, but also it could be done in this particular room, the smaller one, to see if the smoke would get somewhere else out, you know.
Yep, I hear you. It's hard to see what's down there.
I see the arch here also. That's the reason why they started to dig in this place.
Oh yeah. So I wonder if there's a chance that this building predated the whatever happened during the war.
Nie wiem, czy to stare, czy nie. Zobacz.
Was it rebar or rubber?
To jak wygląda jak stare, co?
It looks like actually some cables, more of them, 1, 2, 3, that are getting out of the, I would say, virgin clay. And this looks like the air pressure
hose. That makes sense because the room upstairs looked like it had those 8 compressor stands.
Mm-hmm.
I think there'll be an air compressor stuff upstairs.
So why was somebody digging? So many questions, so little answers.
And why did they brick all this up?
Yeah, and
There's no reason to brick this. I mean, if it was just a room to nowhere.
yet again somebody opens the floor.
So right there is where the mining area is today, not far from where we are, and the production area here that is supposedly littered with tunnels underneath.
So this was the assembly building.
That's what I thought. We're going this way.
But it's also built in a different construction method.
Na górę, ale tam trzeba ostrożnie. Jak te na górę.
Ja, kan bindingswerk. Watch out. You're dragging.
Zittwerke.
To może miejscowość jakaś, wiesz, gdzieś w Niemczech.
Zittwerke to jest fabryka w gliny. It's a clay producent, and then the name is gone. Zittwerke.
komma. Ja, jag ser.
Tutaj mam całą.
Oh, there's
Säg den.
Seidenberg, Tonwerke. No tak.
Seidenberg. To był chyba, wiesz co? Białkole chyba, Seidenberg. Nie. Co to było? Tu gdzieś niedaleko. Seidenberg.
I just hope it's a concrete level, not like a wooden level. The amount of the crap laying on it makes me feel not so safe.
Well, you know. So, these were the assembly halls. The assembly halls burnt. A lot of fires going on in this world of military history. I will say, you get all the red brick. Now I'm still sanding on cement. Cement floor. Because it's wet, but you can still smell the soot from the fire. Considering that there's a fire in here once, holds up remarkably well, to be quite honest. I really do feel the floor moving here. I really do feel the floor moving. If there was anything up here, they must have had lighter constructions up here, but the main stuff must have been downstairs. Wondering if this is an old textile mill, textile factory like they used so much before. We can't get down that way?
I think we can, but there's something that...
Yes.
Well, what you can see here is this place was used as probably an elevator. I know this construction from
Yeah.
the Zittwerke.
Yeah, there's a lift beam right there. And then it's interesting, if you look at all this, if this was an old building built before of brick, it must have been reinforced in some way. There's a lot of these...
It's a weird construction, it's like a connected wood with brick, with a concrete. But from the other side you see that, like the whole frame is from a concrete.
Yeah.
Then a little bit of steel, but then in the walls you can see a steel, the wooden part too.
So they would have, but they couldn't have had heavy construction up here.
Up here no, but I think on the lower level. Jest tam zejście na dół? Będzie, nie?
Nie ma zejść.
Nie ma.
Nie, raczej nie.
A to wiesz, nie.
So there's an elevator over there. Was that an elevator for another building? No, it wasn't. Oh, it's actually rather large.
That's an interesting back wall. That can't have been original to this building.
There you can get to the roof.
I mean, this is...
Yeah, it's weird also.
Yeah, it is weird. This is like a cement.
I think it looks like, I think it's the part of the roof of the building that's next to us because, no, the roof is lower on this level, so this one is the... Look through the hole and then you will see the very long roof.
Oh wow, yeah.
Now I answered my question because I was wondering if there was this like kind of elevator, if it was attached here, and why was it attached here? There's only a wooden construction,
Yeah.
so it goes nowhere. But then I saw this hole with two bolts. You see?
You
So
think?
it's probably where the second part was attached, and they were using this elevator to grab something from the ground level and lift it up here. So that's my conclusion.
Well, let's go downstairs and see what the production floor looks like.
This is also like what floor?
Yeah, this is an interesting walkway. This is weird. What we're walking on. Why would you have this on an attic like this?
The older layer.
Well, if there was a collective farm here as well, then they used it. There's going to be very little left of whatever was here during the time of the war. I'm talking about destroying any kind of evidence of anything. This is post-war. So, alright. See one of the big factory halls. That is slowly collapsing because it's been on fire and it's falling apart. And I'm standing underneath it. What else is new? I see I'm not going that way. I'll look this way.
Throughout the complex, there's 4 distinct periods or types of construction, one ranging from the older and more ornate, which would be the initial factory building, to the more utilitarian and the other end as the works were expanded.
Motor pool. This was very clearly a garage. But if there was a collective farm here after the war, well, then they would have used all of it, and there'd be very little left of jet plane production.
You know, there is something interesting.
Coming. Let's see, han ser från alla steder.
On another occasion, not long ago, another group of historians and researchers would later find, with their GPR, what looked like tunnels underground, here closer to the production hall. They also did drills and got core drillings up of what looked like cement. But as of yet, no active digging have been done in the location, but it proves the point.
One of the things about this building is that it is still very ornate. There's a lot of construction details. It must have been built before the war, before this need arose, for whatever purpose it was for. They wouldn't have built something this elaborate just to build a factory hall. But this looks like it could be an add-on for that purpose. This building, however, looks of a different construction. It's almost like a cut off. And you see it upstairs where we saw those heavy beams. The bricks are still red, but they are different. This is not the same brick. These bricks are bigger, and they're just of a slightly different vintage than these. So this building, which looks clearly like a factory hall, could have been the add-on for the factory. And honestly, this looks like a factory hall if I've ever seen one. I mean, and you look at the beams, the steel beams holding the roof up. This is purpose-built completely different than the rest of the building. So they took something that they had that worked and added this onto it, I'm assuming. Huh?
He's actually now receiving an information.
Good. Yeah, now let him do his thing. Yeah, this looks like a cheap, fast production hall.
Yes, and let me also tell you how Polish scrap hunters
Oh, we're back to that again.
Yes, because you see,
I noticed.
They prepared it, and now then they use a string to actually collapse it, and then the whole construction collapsed. They can walk on it, and they take the scrap metal.
All for the metal.
Yes.
Is metal really worth that much nowadays?
Yes.
You look here on the outside, the support braces for this building as well. And even the locals here grew up here, have seen tunnels under these buildings, oddly enough now filled in. And on the aerial photograph from 45, there is what looks or appears to be a tunnel entrance that will be right underneath this enormous mound of dirt that is now here. The scrap and the trash is terrible, but looking apart from that, it's a beautiful building with a lot of interesting history.
Well, so this hole, where we are standing in, actually, it's on this picture. It looks like an entrance to the tunnel. It's right behind the middle of the building, which is marked by this wall here.
Yeah, I noticed.
And what you can see is two pillars. One is there laying with the foundation, and the second one is laying with the foundation there. And
You're
of
right.
course there is an inspection hole dug by somebody. It's not deep, but yeah.
So do we think this went into the mountain or down?
I think it would go slightly down and then further
Sloping like the one we saw?
Yeah, exactly. because we are still more or less on the same level.
And it lines up with that opening, not with the buttress.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh yeah, there's pillars there.
Electricity station to reduce the voltage.
Transformer station.
Yeah, I actually didn't know this word also exists in English.
Yeah, it looks about the same size as it does in Nobel. In the dynamite in Nobel.
Ah, yes, yes.
It's the same size. But holy hell, this is a big building.
Oh wow, look, we found the basement. Or maybe some place just for the cables. But it's also an opening. He put the stick inside.
Yeah, so.
I think just somebody needs to find the money and make a big examination of ground penetrating radar of this whole area. And then you can see it because...
And just as if our confusion is not big enough, then there's the factory hall. And here's a third that extends practically as far as I can see. And this is yet a third different type of construction, with much heavier reinforcing structure inside, with double brick walls, which is overkill for something fast.
So the last place for now.
In the last months of the war, special trains made several stops here, going west. Documents make note that their cargo was unlisted, leading some to think that they were related to Gunther Grundmann, who was the director of Silesian Museum during the war. He created a list of 80 sites in Lower Silesia where he concealed precious objects and other items of value. Also, there's the recently discovered Mengele's diary, a journal written by an SS officer at the end of the war, outlining Himmler's planned hiding places of gold and goods that could not be recovered further west. It was recently discovered in the northern German town of Quedlinburg. All of these traces lead through or to Zittau.
Do składowania, wiesz, to przewozimy. No i trzeba tu zaznaczyć, że...
Somebody in Breslau found letters from this guy called Grundmann, and those letters were encrypted. They found the list, they managed to decode it, and then they looted all of the hideouts. But he claims that's not the only list, and they had more lists like this one, where he actually had the places where he stashed all of the expensive stuff at the end of the war. The boxes that were brought down there, maybe they are actually having those hidden art with it.
Które tu gdzieś zostały zdeponowane.
That are still sitting somewhere here. So he says that there are absolutely no witnesses for the last days, at least he haven't reached any, from the last days of war, and he assumes that maybe they all have been killed, not only the prisoners but the people who were guarding them too, so that they can keep the secret better, because when you are dead keep the secret better.
Yeah.
And what's mysterious is that one transport full of the prisoners disappeared somewhere in this area.
These old power buildings are usually really cool. This is the technical tunnel for the power bill, for the power cables.
It takes so much.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Right? Before I leave the area here of the Zittwerke, I had to do a little epilogue. I had to... Something that I have noticed. I've been here some 3-4 times now. I have spoken to researchers, archivists, historians, GPR people, just people curious and interested in this place. And I have heard from quite a few, some positive and some very negative and some threatening. And one thing that is I've realized about this specific place which is, as we speak, being destroyed. The first time I was here, this building, the old power plant, was intact. Now it's a ruin. There is a lot of interest by a lot of people in the Zittwerke and what happened here and what may have happened underground. And I see this, my job, as so far as this is a job, is to travel around the world and document historical locations and tell you what happened. One of the benefits of doing that is I get to talk to different historians, different people, different researchers, and put all the different information together and present you the most complete picture I can of a given place. And that is, it's not much always about my research or one person's research. It's about getting the information together and actually being able to tell, especially the next generation, what happened in any given location. This is an important and very interesting historical location for the forced laborers that worked here, for the rocket engines that was built here. And then there's all the what-if stories. And what I have found is here, there are different groups that all have their individual research in generally the same area, in generally the same location of this place. And apparently they all hate each other passionately. They will not talk to each other, they will not communicate each other, and what's even more interesting is they will outright badmouth each other to other people. Some have told me that they will not talk to me because I talked to this old gentleman that actually took his time to come out here and show me what he thought. And I have requested the same of everyone else I know that was researching this area, but nope, they will absolutely not share or talk. Well, some of them will talk off the record, but they won't actually share. I have never seen a chaotic nut job of a research location like this. You have multiple people, multiple groups with multiple assets and resources, and all you're doing is fighting each other. And here's the interesting thing is, it makes you all look bad because you all seem to hate each other and badmouth each other to everyone else, which is beyond ridiculous. You may not agree, but work together. For Christ's sake. And I don't know what it is you expect to find. Because, yes, I am under firm belief that there are things from the Second World War we have not found, we have not heard of, that are still hiding in archives, in files, in government files, in strange labs somewhere. There are things we don't know, we haven't been told. Absolutely. I see that from my own research. Is this one of them? Maybe there's something to this. Do I believe that Joseph Mengele came here and started dissecting people in Wash-Thross? That's a hard word. No, I generally don't believe that there was experimentation on people here, but it's a good commercial story to sell for TV. I'm just not going to peddle it because when I talked to the people at Auschwitz, they said they did not have any information he was here. Großhosen didn't have any information he was here. There's one article about one person that may have remembered seeing him here, but he was a doctor of, he was the second in command of Dr. Witt in Auschwitz. So was he here doing health and safety tour? Possibly. Did he do experiments here? I certainly have seen zero evidence for this. And I don't think you're going to find Hermann Göring's gold in old mining tunnels under this complex either. I really don't. If you want to know what that gold is, you have but just to look at the Swiss banks or Argentinian or Spain where the gold went. Ask the Bavarian Mint what they remelted. I don't know what it is you're looking for, but I guarantee you it will probably not make you rich. So why don't you work together? And instead of stubbornly working against each other, if you want to talk to me or not, I don't care, it doesn't matter. But talk to each other. And I see that not just here, although I will say in Germany it is predominant with people fighting each other for information or holding on to their little kingdoms and not wanting to share and not wanting to show this information or that document or this place or that place. And after all, we all know that in World War II it didn't happen in Germany because no one was here, so we don't talk about it. Which is disrespectful to the victims who was killed in this war on all sides. It's disrespectful to the forced laborers, to those who died in the camps. It is disrespectful to the German soldiers who fought just for their country and died. It is disrespectful to millions of women who were raped by Russian soldiers. It is disrespectful to the Americans and to many other people who fought in this war. Let's talk about what happened and then just share the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's one of the reasons why I am here, and wanted to implore on you all that maybe you could work together, just for the greater good, here and elsewhere. My files are open. Everything I have is on my website, as you know. And I have also found, this is not the only place that is like this. I have found honorary places, locations from the Second World War, memorial camps, where several organizations spend more time suing each other and infighting than they actually do being a memorial organization for the same place. I don't know what is up with this. If it's pride of ownership of ideas or concepts, or it pisses me off. And you can threaten me all you want and send me hateful emails all you want. My job is to share with the general public information. And one day I'll probably write some more books myself. But for now, this is a good way to show and tell and talk about what's going on. And this is not about me. This is about you, and this is about history that you all have an interest in. Presumably you all have an interest in history and preserving this history. So why do you want to hide it from other people? Come on. What is wrong with you guys? Grow up.
I hope you will consider subscribing to my channel, liking, follows, and maybe even join me on Patreon to help out. I am just a guy, a historian, traveling around all these historic places in Europe on my own dime, trying to bring them to you.